UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning, live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. It's a Thursday edition. We'll have Brent Beaird. We'll have a little Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup with Mike Ridaught from the Main Street Daily News and PrepZone.com. SEC basketball last night. Auburn stays unbeaten. They win at Baton Rouge. And then Alabama wins in Starkville, and Ole Miss defeats Texas in Oxford. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, and it's our Heisman Trophy voter and college football analyst, Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How you doing?
Shane, doing well. Enjoyed the basketball last night. The basketball in this league is just absolutely unbelievable. As far as football, we're less than a week away from National Signing Day. People have probably forgotten that.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, I understand. We had the early signing period in December, but we still do have the February signing date. So not sure what they will eventually do with signing day. They moved it earlier in December than where it was. I could see them moving out of December sometime, but they still do have the one in February. So, and the other thing that happened this week, we'll get into this a little later, was the ACC football schedule reveal happened on Monday night on the ACC network. So we are now in the end of the off season, and there's always news going on.
Yeah, Brent, do you know, is anybody going to be signing anybody on Wednesday? Or is pretty much,
Yeah.
I feel like everybody, like especially I know a lot of the smaller type group of fives and some FCS schools will be doing it, but don't you think all the major programs, their guys are already on campus and already signed, sealed, and delivered?
Basically, yes. But you've always got a few that, for one reason or another, did not or won't sign until then. So, absolutely, but I'm looking at the Rivals team rankings here. But I mean, when you look at the numbers, 25 commits, 28 commits, 26 commits. That's Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama 21, Oregon 19, Florida 26, Auburn 26. I won't go into all of them, but those numbers, frankly, that have already admitted. I mean, there will be a few, but there won't be many.
Yeah. You got a note here about the most wins, like every 10, 25 years or whatever there's one that kind of surprises me. Give the people who those are, and then I'll tell you who surprised me.
Yeah, this is I'll give Pick Six Previews credit for this. They did a study of 5 years, 10 years, 25, back to 100, and then all time. And there are 6 schools that hit all the categories: Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Shane, are your 6?
Yeah, Clemson surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It just does.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, obviously they had, Danny Ford before, but Dabo's been there so long now,
yeah.
Shane, that we kind of forget who was there before him.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, so we got the college football playoff national title dates are set for the next few years.
Yeah, the reason this is important is as you look at the dates, there are a lot of people that would like to go back to January the 1st and let that be the day for the national championship game, and that we'd have everything wrapped up by then. But Shane, look at these dates.
Yeah.
January 22, 29, January 24, 28. So what that tells you, it tells you two things. One, we're not going backwards. If anything, it's going to be stretched out longer. Now, this year it was January the 20th. We've also got some dates on here. One is January 25th. So it's going to stretch out even longer the way the calendar is. And the other thing that I wish they changed, but we're not seeing it right now, is all these dates on here are Monday night still.
Yeah.
So, Shane, for whatever reason, that they just can't get off this Monday night stuff.
I do not understand that. It's just like I don't understand the Monday night national championship basketball game. I understand because you want to play on Saturday the two semifinal games. Play those on Thursday night and then do it Saturday night. I mean, I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I'll tell you real quick why they're doing it, or at least why they started doing it. Monday night, or at least it used to. Monday night used to be the night that most people were home watching television. Mm-hmm. Now, this was back, my star, Shane, this was back from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I don't know if they've ever gotten away from that. So at some point, I mean, have it Friday night, have it Saturday at noon. I mean, just get it away from Monday night.
Or do like what they need. They've been talking about. I think they've been joking around for years about the Super Bowl, like that Monday.
Yeah.
The next day is like a national holiday where you don't have to go to work.
Really?
Maybe they should do that for the Tuesday after the NCAA championship game. All right, Brent, general managers are popping up everywhere in college football now. I know the Gators have not hired. I don't think they've hired anybody yet, but they've interviewed quite a few. But this is the way college football is going.
This is the up-and-coming job that a lot of people are going to be going to law school in order to be general managers. But at least 5 of the college general managers are making at least $700,000. And there will be more of those coming up soon. So, I mean, it's an important position. There's no doubt about that. So that is kind of where the money's going. And I mean, Shane, frankly, we're becoming more and more like the NFL all the time, are we not?
Yeah, with no rules. The NFL with no rules. That's what the college football is. Most games coached as an AP #1 team.
Well, Nick Saban obviously leads with 98. This is amazing. He was 88-10 during those games. Bobby Bowden, Saban coached #1 teams 98 times. Bobby Bowden 45. And Bowden in those games was very impressive, 40-5. Woody Hayes, speaking of the past, at Ohio State, 45. He was 44-1. That's when you had ties during that time. Kirby Smart, 35. How about Pete Carroll, Shane, who's going back to the NFL as a college coach with the #1 team? He was 30. We coached 33 times and was 31-2. So I won't go into all the lists, but that's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah, no doubt about it. People missed it. A couple of players for Ohio State. Quinshon Judkins is headed to the NFL, and Carnell Tate. I didn't even realize he was going into the portal, but came back.
Yeah, he did. That probably sweetened the pot, shall we say?
Yeah.
And he got what he wanted. Quinshon Judkins started with Ole Miss, then he went to Ohio State. Now he's going to the NFL. The other interesting thing that happened was Jim Knowles, the Ohio State defensive coordinator, has gone to Penn State. They thought he would go to Oklahoma. That's where his fiancée lives. But instead, he has gone to Penn State. Now, the thing that really is amazing about this is he is a coordinator. He is a defensive coordinator. He's going to be making $3 million at Penn State. Now, Blake Baker at LSU was the highest paid coordinator at 2.5. Now, Shane, you remember the day, like I do, when coordinators might get $100,000, $200,000, and fans thought their favorite school robbed the bank. So the money now for coordinators is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. Brent, are you surprised he's leaving Ohio State to go to Penn State?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yes. They and look, it wasn't that he was not making much money at Ohio State. I mean, he was doing fine at Ohio State. No, I'm with you. I mean, that is that's a big victory for Penn State. Tom Allen left, their D coordinator, so they had to get another one. So no, that's a very good point. In that you don't see that all the time, that someone would transfer to a rival.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's more to the story than maybe he just didn't get along with Ryan Day or something, but there's no way in hell I leave Ohio State for Penn State.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of that, what's the latest on Chip Kelly?
He is, the rumors are and the stories are that he's looking around. His name's been mentioned as the Texans coordinator, or maybe even here in Jacksonville, but nothing definitive on that. It's still going on. A lot of moving and shaking in the NFL right now as far as assistant jobs. So we'll wait and see. That would be interesting. And obviously Kelly was at UCLA, didn't work out real well, ended up at Ohio State. So, but look, Kelly still, in the eyes of many, is a good offensive coordinator. So he will be in demand.
The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors and find your favorite at shopjfhaydens.com. We got Brent Beaird on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. We'll talk high school sports with Mike Ridaught, second portion of today's program. Text on the Titan More text line from Jonathan. He says, I cannot believe what happened in our country last night with the plane crash. Thoughts and prayers go out to them. Yes, I agree. I didn't know anything about it till I woke up this morning. It's hard to believe that can possibly happen. So our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved, families and stuff. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. Brent, Alabama, tell us what's going on. There's one note you got here that I was not aware of, but I'll let you go ahead and tell us what's going on in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, over the weekend, last weekend, was the 42nd anniversary of the death of Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Julian Sang, who was at Alabama and was also at Ohio State, is now in the transfer portal. He's a really good quarterback from.
Okay, stop right there, Brent, for a second.
Yeah.
I got confused. He was initially, was he ever on the Ohio State roster, or was he committed there and then flipped to Alabama?
No, I'm pretty sure he was on the roster at Ohio State. I mean, nothing obviously really happened, and he didn't play. So I guess he's looking for a place to play. But I mean, he was, when he came out from high school in California, he was easily in the top 10 on all the recruiting list. Deontay Lawson, the Alabama linebacker, will not be back until fall. He had he tore an ACL late in the year. Bama's A-Day is April the 12th, which is where a lot of people's A-Day will be. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at this very closely, but suffice to say, Jalen Milroe is at the Senior Bowl, and Shane, he has struggled so far on the first couple of days of practice.
Well, hell, I mean, is anybody surprised?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, look, he's a tremendous athlete, but he cannot play quarterback, people, and he ain't never going to be able to.
No. No.
He's going to make some throws that impress you every now and then, but
Hmm.
9 times out of 10, he ain't going to. It's a shame. I mean, he's
It
very
is.
gifted in a lot of areas, but decision making, accuracy, and all that good stuff, as we talk about time and time on this program. Okay, I got to go back to so Julian saying he initially out of high school went to Alabama, correct?
Yes.
Then he
Yes.
went to Ohio State.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's why I'm confused. I thought, okay, because he is, I saw him, I've never seen him play it down, but I saw some
Hmm.
clips of him during warm up of the national title game. You know how they
Hmm.
do the game day and they
Oh,
got the
yeah.
camera going around while
Right.
they're warming up.
Sure.
Man, that dude's got one of the quickest releases I've ever seen.
He does. He's an incredible thrower. Now he's not real big. You probably noticed that too. But at the same time, yes, as far as being accurate and having a really good arm, he does.
Yeah. Auburn Tigers, what's going on the plains?
Auburn, they got recent running back Omar Matson. He reclassified, so he'll be able to play. They don't have Jarquez Hunter. Hunter went to the NFL. Now they've also got an interesting situation at quarterback. Peyton Thorne is gone. Hank Brown is gone. Walker White is gone. Holden Grenier is gone. But the guy they have now is Jackson Arnold, who came from Oklahoma. They've also got a real talented freshman in Deuce Knight, who originally committed to Notre Dame. They've also got Stanford transfer Ashton Daniels, who will be coming later in the summer, and Tanner Bailey from South Carolina. So people may say, well, what in the world are they going to do with all those quarterbacks? Well, most teams have a pretty full quarterback room. The position they really needed was at right tackle and left tackle, and they got a couple of tackles in the transfer portal. And one of the guys that is actually coming back is Isaiah Miller, who decided he would come back for another year. So we think they've improved at quarterback and on the offensive line. And Shane, as you know, they certainly needed to improve at quarterback.
They've improved in quarterback for sure. Brandon's question here on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. So Shane, AJ McCarron was talking about the fourth down play from the Bills and how he didn't like tight splits as a QB because it's hard to pick up where the pressure's coming. He favors spreading him out. Here you talk about this, but Billy runs a lot of our offense out of tight form. I love tight formations. The Rams, the 49ers, the Chiefs, everybody runs tight formations. It is extremely difficult to defend route concepts out of tight formations. You can out leverage people immediately. Now, did it backfire in that one play? Yes, it did. But if you watch college football, pro football, the best play callers run a lot of tight formations. It's good stuff for sure. All right, Brent, let's talk about the Florida Gators. What's going on in Gainesville?
Well, Vinny Sunseri has come in. He was from Jacksonville State, or at least he was for maybe a cup of coffee. He wasn't there very long. Sunseri played at Alabama. He was a really good player, and he certainly is earning his coaching stripes. Also, he was a 5th round pick with the Saints. Has been into coaching the last few years. Been with the Patriots. He was with Jed Fish in Washington for a while. Also, a lot of people probably remember his father, Sal Sunseri. He was a Gators D-line coach back in 2018 under Mullen. His dad is well known. His dad's been around everywhere. I don't know if you've ever met Sal or not, Shane, but he certainly is well known. Orange and Blue game set for April the 12th with that too. And 3 4-star signees Rennell Brown, Ben Hanks Jr., and Drake Stubbs have seen their rankings go up in the top 24/7 update. Now, look, they've got a formula for doing this. I'm not going to get into that because none of us really understand all that, but they reevaluate a lot of these guys, and just safe to say these guys are Florida are now evaluated higher than they were. Dallas Wilson, I've seen 2 or 3 things, one from 24/7 that he either has become eligible or he is on the verge of it. So I think having him will be a plus for the Gators too.
Yeah, Mark on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, asked, Cohen was hired to call plays at Jacksonville. Yeah, he's going to be the head coach, and he will call the plays. Liam Cohen, pretty good play caller. Georgia Tech.
Yes.
Brent, they're going to play this game at the I still call it the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
I understand Georgia Tech wanting to play there for more people. I mean, even if they play home, people are going to sell their tickets to the Georgia fans.
Yeah, probably.
But I still don't understand. I mean, you got a good little team going right now. I feel like you want to play in your home ballpark.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. But Georgia Tech will be on Black Friday again. Remember last year it was in Athens, and Georgia Tech scared Georgia to death in that game, and frankly probably should have won the game. But they'll be playing again on Black Friday, and this time in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that rivalry will keep going. Georgia's their left tackle Monroe Freeling, shoulder surgery, will miss the spring. They've got some of the wide receivers. Jacoby White has stood out in off-season drills. This is kind of something you see this time of year. That doesn't always mean much, but wanted to throw it in there. Kobe Young, who had some legal proceedings. I understand a lot of those have been taken care of. He's a wide receiver, so he might be being able to help Georgia. Look, I don't care who the Georgia wide receiver is. He needs to learn how to catch the ball, doesn't he, Shane, after last year?
Very true. Andy's question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Any word on what Billy and Etienne were discussing when they met at the Senior Bowl? Look, I will say that I don't know what they were talking about, but I think people need to realize coaches and players, it's like in the NFL, you're going to bounce around from team to team. And when you see a coach that you've played for, you're going to go talk to them because you got a great relationship, regardless if you left them for free agency or what. I don't think Billy has any hard feelings towards Etienne at all, because he understands the business. That's just my personal take on it. So anyway, LSU, how much pressure's on Brian Kelly this year?
Well, I think there's got to be some, doesn't it, Shane? I mean, they and it took him a while to get his staff together. Blake Baker's made a big difference. Bo Davis, the defensive line coach, and Baker is the D coordinator. It starts in the beginning. They go to Clemson for their opener. LSU has lost 5 straight opening games. Well, we never thought we would hear that from LSU, but that is what is happening. Garrett Nussmeier comes back at quarterbacks. Whit Weeks is back at linebacker, so that will help them. They've also hired Lance Guidry, if that name sounds familiar. He also is from Louisiana, but he was the D coordinator at Miami, and frankly, Miami's defense wasn't very good last year, so he'll be joining LSU. I mean, they've always got talent. They've got Patrick Payton, edge rusher from Florida State. They got Nick Anderson, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, and they also got Barry Brown from Kentucky, who is a big-time player. He's as good a kick returner as he is wide receiver. So, I mean, Shane, we say this every year, don't we? LSU will have LSU dudes, but it really hasn't come together for them under Kelly yet, has it?
No, it hasn't at all. South Carolina gave Shane Beamer a new contract.
They sure did. Now I want get this now. It wasn't like he wasn't making any money. His old deal, he was making $6.6 million. In the new deal, he's going to be making $8.15 million. But Shane, get this now. Okay, he got a raise to 8.15. He is the 9th highest paid coach in the SEC.
That's crazy.
Ninth.
Yeah.
Ninth. Now, Kirby leads the league with 13.3. So if folks may have forgotten those numbers, but that's a pretty good deal. I mean, he certainly has earned it, but a lot of people, when Shane Beamer started, they weren't sure he would make it. But give Shane credit that I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC. That is a much better football team, Shane, than we saw a few years ago.
Yeah. Ole Miss continues to hit the portal.
They do, and they hit it hard, as they always do. Trey Wallace, Harrison Trey Wallace, has come to Ole Miss. Also, now they've had some other guys obviously come in through the portal. Princewell U is one of those as edge rushers. Gator fans will be familiar with him. Patrick Kudus is another guy. Luke Hates, and maybe some names people don't know. Austin Simmons is their quarterback. He's replacing Jackson Dart, who, by the way, is at the Senior Bowl right now. So Simmons, I think, is going to be a pretty good quarterback for them. But yes, that they've hit the portal hard again.
Yeah. Speaking of the Senior Bowl, we got a text on the Titan or text line from James. He asked, "Did I play in the Senior Bowl?" I did not. I probably regret it. I played in the Hula Bowl and then the Japan Bowl. Coach Burr was the coach out in Japan, so I went out there. He brought my dad as an assistant coach. So I played there and then went to the Hula Bowl, but probably should have played in the Senior Bowl, and I may have gotten drafted. That probably screwed me in hindsight. Real quick, Texas Longhorns keep adding players.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. They lost a lot of their defensive snaps at tackles, so they really concentrated on bringing in some defensive players that probably will make a difference for them. Travis Shaw is one of those guys. Cole Brevard also too. Shane, we didn't have a whole lot of time for Kentucky, but there's one thing here that I wanted to mention that we shake our head with sometimes. Brock Vandergriff, who came from Georgia, and frankly should have beat Georgia last year, has actually retired. He ain't going in the portal. He's actually given up football. Now, the thing I wanted to mention here was they got a commitment from 7th-year senior Zach Calzada.
Oh yeah, he's been everywhere. A&M, yes. Auburn.
Yes.
Small school, JUCO. Yeah.
He was also at Incarnate Word.
That's it, yeah.
It was the Southland Conference Player of the Year. This is what they call a bridge quarterback. In other words, somebody to come in and be a good backup. The Kentucky quarterback is going to be Cutter Boley, who did play some at the end of the year. But I thought you'd appreciate that, Shane, that Zach Calzada is going into year number 7. Can you imagine playing college football for 7 years?
No, but I mean it's bizarre. I think there should be a rule against that. Like when Chris Winkie won the Heisman, I forgot how old he was, like 28. Now obviously he went and played minor league baseball, but
right.
I'd already been in the league for like 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
At that age.
Wow.
So it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Brent, give us a few nuggets before we get you out of here.
Yeah, from the ACC schedule, Sunday night of Labor Day weekend, Notre Dame at Miami, and South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta. Your Monday night game of the opening weekend is Labor Day night, is TCU at North Carolina. So Bill Belichick's first game we will see on Monday night. And you've also got from the ACC, we mentioned LSU at Clemson. Don't forget, Alabama goes to Florida State. So Bama will be the opening game for Florida State. Georgia Tech goes to Colorado. Now, a lot of these other games aren't very good. Frankly, Duquesne at Pitt, East Texas A&M at SMU, Fordham at Boston College. But there were a few games worth mentioning there that came out with the ACC schedule. So we will keep folks up to date with what's going on, and we'll give a little bit more information on Miami and FSU next time. I know we got Mike Ridaught. We'll look forward to listening to Mike, but that kind of catches up in the world of college football.
Brent, good stuff as always. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week, my friend.
You too, brother. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird, a college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter. Join us on the Take No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll do a little Baker Sporting Goods High School roundup, talk a little high school sports. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Bishop's Pitmaster Barbecue, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to us whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Naysayers, setbacks, injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Asking you to join us at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill for our next private label release. You can add Lugo's Risky Rum to your collection of Spurrier's private label bourbon and rye whiskey on your top shelf of your liquor cabinet. So join about 125 of your friends upstairs at Visor's Rooftop Bar from 6 to 9 on January 30 for this exclusive release, featuring a special menu of delicious Spurrier menu items and the specialty rum cocktails.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center studios. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes, with locations on Northwest 13th Street and Southwest Williston Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan and More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's our man who does a tremendous job covering high school sports, Mike Ridaught from the Main Street Daily News and the PrepZone.com. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, bud?
Very good, Shane. Good morning. How are you? How you been?
I'm doing well. We are winding down high school basketball. Let's start first with the ladies. What's going on with the girls basketball in this area?
Okay. For our area, the Main Street Daily News coverage area, we cover, all the Alachua County, the Tri-County area, all the way up to Suwannee County. The best team or the highest ranked team, the Williston girls. They're coached by former PK Young coach Willie Powers. Powers was there for 21 years at PK Young. He won a couple of state titles, 6 Final Four appearances. He won his 500th game 5 years ago, 2000. So, I mean, he's a great coach. He knows what he's doing. And he's got Williston with a chance to compete for a state championship this year. They won at Stark Bradford on Tuesday night by 29. They've actually finished up their regular season, which ends this week. They are 17-2 this year. They've won 8 in a row. They haven't lost in 2025. They're ranked number 11 overall in the state of Florida. They're ranked 2nd in the Rural Division. But the bad news is, Shane, they're in the same district as 2-time defending state champion Hawthorne, which is 79th overall, 5th in the rural class. And also Wildwood, which is 18-0. GHS actually played them tough, Wildwood, on Tuesday night. Wildwood held on for a 54-50 win, but Wildwood is ranked number 1 in the state in the rural class. They're number 6 overall in Florida. And right now, the way that district tournament bracket is set up, the brackets are out for the district tournaments for next week. Hawthorne is the number 3 seed. Williston is the number 2 seed. Williston would play either Hawthorne or Cedar Key. So let's just say Hawthorne and Williston in the district semifinals, and the winner would likely get Wildwood. So not only is it going to be tough, Shane, to win a district title in that district, but 2 of those 3 teams will not play for a state title. They do not reseed the teams until after the region final, when they get to the Final Four. So that means, unfortunately, either Williston, Hawthorne, well, certainly 2 of those 3, they're not going to have a chance to win a state title, which is a shame. I've talked to Willie Powers about it. He wishes that the FHSA would do for basketball like they do for football, where they kind of seed all the teams and just have that open, like the rural bracket, or that, you had the 2 different brackets this year, because you also had that B bracket too, but you have your top 16 teams. And then, you got a chance to have a number 1 versus number 2 in the state championship game. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out that way for basketball this year. The next highest team in our area is Gainesville High School. They're 46th overall. They're 5th in the state in 5A. Is not impressive at 9-8. They really played a tough schedule, which is why they're highly ranked. They played Wildwood twice, as I mentioned. Wildwood 6th overall in Florida. They played number 20 Tallahassee Rickers. They played Williston. A couple of Jacksonville schools who are really good. Bowles is 9th overall in the state. Ribault is 40th in the state. But GHS will be the top seed in 5A District 2. They will play next Thursday against Leon Child's winner. The way the districts are set up this year, the district tournaments for boys basketball, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The girls will play on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday next week. But Lincoln is the 2 seed in that district. Columbia, the 3 seed. They've kind of played well down the stretch. And then obviously, Gainesville being the top seed in that district. And then the next highest team, I had them on my show last night. How about actually I had the boys on last night, but how about the Newberry girls? They're having a good year, 14-4. They're the number 1 seed in 3A District 3. They will host either Baldwin or Keystone Heights. Bradford's a 2 seed in that district. Newberry just played Bradford on Monday. They won by 13. They led by as many as 20 in the game. we'll get a good gauge, good test, really a good setup for the district tournament, because Newberry girls will play Buchholz at home tonight, but then tomorrow night at 6, they will host Gainesville as part of senior night. They won 9 in a row. They haven't lost since 2024. So as far as girls basketball, again, we've got some teams that have a chance to make a run. It's just a shame with that rural classification with Williston and Hawthorne being in the same district, that one of those teams will not get a chance to play for a state title this year.
Before we jump into boys basketball, Andy's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law, says, Mike, are you familiar with the recruiting of Newberry's Jarquez Carter and Micah Newton? And how did Ohio State and Miami snatch them from the Gators?
Yeah, actually with Newton, he actually originally committed to NC State and then ended up signing with Miami. I remember, talking to them briefly about it. And from what I remember, Carter said he wasn't really recruited that hard. So, good for both those guys. Also, Logan McLeod, he's going to end up signing next week. You got National Signing Day next Wednesday, by the way, too. He's going to end up signing with Wofford. So that's 3 guys that are going Division I from that Newberry football team. Boy, they had a really big year this year. In fact, this week at MainStreetDailyNews.com, we are releasing our all-area football teams. Those guys are on our all-area football team. And then, Newberry this year in football, Shane, won their first district title since 2007. And I'll let the cat out of the bag, because our coaches of the year will be announced tomorrow, but we have recognized Ed Johnson as our big school coach of the year. They beat Bradford twice this year, including beating Bradford at home to win the district championship. So congratulations to the Newberry football team. But yeah, those 2 young men, good for them that they've been able to sign and play at the Division I level. It's a really good year for Newberry football.
No doubt about it. All right, boys basketball. It's probably the same teams as usual. Give us a rundown of what's going on in boys hoops.
Yeah, and my mistake, it was Newberry boys that I had on the show last night at Sonic Drive-In. They are the highest ranked team in the area. Shane, I don't know, I have to look into this, but as long as I've been here, and I've been here 25 years in the Gainesville area, I don't remember a basketball team going unbeaten. We've seen it obviously in football. Williston had a couple of back-to-back undefeated seasons. Hawthorne went undefeated. We've even seen it in softball. Trenton softball went undefeated. But I don't think I've ever seen a basketball team go wire to wire undefeated. And right now, Newberry has done that. They beat Gainesville, and man, they took them to the woodshed. They beat a Gainesville team that was ranked top 10 in the state in their classification, a higher classification, and they beat GHS on Tuesday 74-42.
Wow.
Newberry is the number 16 overall team in the Sunshine State. They are hosting PK Young for senior night tonight at 7:30. And, I mentioned that the Newberry football team won their first district title in a long time. Shane, the Newberry boys basketball team is seeking their first district title in 21 years. 2004 was the last time that Newberry boys basketball won a district title. And they will be a number 1 seed in at home next week with a chance to do that. Several players on that basketball team were on the district championship football team. So what a great way to go out. They got a lot of seniors on that team to possibly win district championships for the first time in a long time in both of those sports. Just a quick shout out too. Newberry boys soccer last night, Shane, won the district title against Trinity Catholic of Ocala. That was their first district title and their first 15-win season in 23 years.
Wow.
So kudos to the Newberry athletic program. They're really having a good year. But here's the downside for Newberry. Their region will be tough. You've got Andrew Jackson out of Jacksonville, which is the number 6 overall team in Florida. They were last year's 4A state runners-up. They'll be in their region. Florida High out of Tallahassee is 20th right now. Right now, Newberry would be the 2 seed in the region. Jackson would be the number 1 seed, which means, we could see Newberry going to Jackson in a region final for the right to go to the Final Four. It's going to be fun postseason coming up in February. The next highest ranked team, Hawthorne. They are ranked number 1 in the rural classification. They're number 60 overall in the Sunshine State. But just like girls basketball, here we go with this tough district. You've got 2-time defending state champion Williston, which was 29-2 last year. They are second in the rural classification behind Hawthorne, 63rd overall. And DeAndre Harvey's a special player for them. Williston's not the same, but with Harvey on the floor, they've got a chance, I think, to three-peat in the classification. But, Wildwood is 7th in the state in the rural classification. So that means you've got 3 top 10 teams in the same district, the same situation. Only one of those teams will get to the Final Four, which will be a shame. Hawthorne beat Buchholz on the road on Tuesday night, 41-33. The Hornets are now 14-2. And again, that's without C.J. Ingram, who is playing at Montverde Academy, but it's been by committee. They've got a different guy that can beat you on a different night. They've won 6 in a row since they lost by 12 at Williston. And then the other highest ranked team in the area is Gainesville High School. But as I mentioned, they just got blown out by Newberry. They did secure the number 1 seed in their district, though. They're 5th in the state in Class 5A. They had won 6 in a row until they lost at Newberry on Tuesday. But their region's pretty tough, too. You got Fleming Allen out of Orange Park right now is the number 1 team in Region 1. Gainesville, though, is the number 2 seed, would be the number 2 seed in Region 1. Gainesville won a district championship last year. Ponte Vedra's 3rd in that region. They were in the 6A Final Four last year. So, yeah, I think we got a chance to have some success, girls and boys, making a little bit of a run. But it's just a shame with that rural classification that Hawthorne, Williston, Wildwood, as good as those teams are, you're only talking about 1 team coming out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to ask you a question about Newberry. And I don't want anybody on here that's a Panther grad or whatever to take this the wrong way. I'm just asking, Mike. In today's world, high school athletics is very similar to college. Guys are bouncing around from high school to high school. But with a small town like Newberry, majority of these players that are having success in basketball and in football, Mike, have they grown up in the Newberry middle school and high school, or did they come from somewhere else recently?
Yeah, in fact, that's something that head coach Patrick Green of the Newberry boys basketball team pointed out last night on the show when I asked, why have you guys been so successful? Because last year they were kind of on the cusp. They were in District 6 last year. They lost by 2 to Hawthorne in the district championship game, and then they played against Hilliard and lost in overtime in the first round of the 1A state playoffs. Hilliard ended up playing Williston in the state championship game. Newberry has jumped up now. So they've gone from 1A to their new classification in 3A. And Coach Green told me, he said, the reason that we've had so much success is because these guys have stuck around. They've been playing for 3 and 4 years together, which, as you stated, it's rare in this day and age when guys can kind of transfer all over the place. It's nice to see guys stick with a program, and you can see what can happen when they do so. Because as I mentioned, Newberry's 1 win away from going undefeated during the regular season. It's been a really, really good year for Newberry, and hopefully they'll get that first district title since 2004. But I think that's a big reason why. Henry Matthews, a guy that hit 8 threes against Williston. They beat Williston on a tip-in at the buzzer. They got Logan McLeod from the football team. He's a senior. Colin Dunmore. Now, he did transfer over. He's the one difference, I guess, Shane. He was at Buchholz, and he transferred to Newberry. And obviously, when you can get an extra piece like that, it can make a big difference. He did not only on the football field, but he had a layup with 9 seconds to play to beat the Rock on the road, to help them stay unbeaten. But other than that, a lot of these guys, Caleb Woods, guys that have been with the program at least a couple of years, some even as many as 4 years.
Awesome. Text on the Titan of our text line before we get you out of here from Franklin in Mobile, Alabama says, Mike, who's your favorite college broadcaster and pro broadcaster?
All right. Easily for me, for pro, would be Kevin Harlan. And I like, I'm more of a radio play-by-play guy. I love guys that can be descriptive. So Kevin Harlan does just that. He'll tell you if there's sweat, rolling off of a brow. He's that descriptive on his calls. For college, Yeah, again, maybe because I've just been in the area and grew up a Gator fan, but I really thought Mick Hubert did a great job. He was I'd have to say he was my favorite. I've liked Sean Kelly, but I'm partial probably more so to Mick Hubert, probably because he was around for so long, but I thought Mick did a great job as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about you going the radio route, right? Because you do so
Yeah.
much stuff on the radio. So it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. All right, Mike, appreciate everything. Let everybody know how they can read your work at Main Street Daily News, prepzone.com, and then we'll get you on here in a couple of weeks when baseball and softball crank up.
All right, sounds good, Shane. I appreciate it. Some of the things that you'll find at the Prep Zone, we have a regional all classification ranking. We're releasing our boys basketball poll this morning, so you can find that online at theprepzone.com. But at mainstreetdailynews.com, we have high school stuff up all the time. As I mentioned, our all-area football team is being released this week. I covered a couple of Brantford softball players that signed to play at the next level. Also, I've got a story tomorrow coming up on the Newberry girls. They have 2 1,000-point scores on their team. Tonight, I'm covering Santa Fe and Eastside boys soccer for the district championship. Great news about all that stuff, Shane. Free content. So go to mainstreetdailynews.com and you can see all that stuff without a paywall.
Appreciate your time. Great work as always, Mike, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Shane. Have a good one.
That's Mike Ridaught joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 2022 NFC Championship game. The Rams beat the 49ers 20-17. And the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead Stadium, one of the few losses in the AFC Championship game for Pat Mahomes. The Bengals beat the Chiefs in overtime 27-24. And that's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'm going to give you my Peachland Dental picks, even though JC's on vacation in the Bahamas. I'm going to give you my picks for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am right quick. I'm just going to throw some dudes out there. Didn't do I never do any research on these. I'm going to go with Sam. I'm going to give you 3 guys: Sam Burns, Taylor Pendrith, and Keegan Bradley. Those will be my picks